If you're a book lover like me, then you've probably seen tons of book recommendations on TikTok. The question I always wonder is, are these books truly that good? In today's video, we'll be discussing if TikTok books are truly worth all the hype. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Grace. It's good to see you. Today's video we are talking about something very important, which is books. I love books. I've loved reading since I was a little kid. I was a very big Hunger Games, Divergent, Twilight. I have loved reading all the time. However, before this past year, I really have not read in quite a long time. When the start of quarantine happened and, you know, people were trying to figure out what to do with their lives, reading became such a big thing again. I see so many videos on booktok, booktube, book Instagram about books I should be reading. The question I always ask myself is this going to be worth it? Am I going to waste my time, or is this going to be the best book of my life? So that's what I'm here to tell you guys. I haven't read all of, you know, the popular books and everything. I still have so many to be read, my TBR. But I'm going to talk about some that I have read that TikTok has recommended me, and I'm going to tell you my honest opinion about them. I will preface this by saying I am such a bad person when it comes to rating books, because I truly think any book I read is 5 out of 5 stars and that it's unbelievable. But I'm going to try and be hard on some of the books today and actually tell you what was worth the hype and what is not. I do think that all of the books I'm going to talk about today are worth reading at least, you know, once, to just say you've read it and everything. But a lot of them did not live up to this TikTok hype where they were the best book they've ever read. Let's just get straight into this video. I'm going to talk about a couple books that were popular a little bit back and then kind of lead them up to books that are popular right now, just because I haven't really read that many and because they all deserve a fair chance, you know? First book I'm going to talk about is actually the first book that booktok recommended me, and that is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I'm sure many of you have heard of this book before. The overall basis of this book is about a girl who every summer goes to this private island with her friends, but however the year that she goes, she can't recall a certain accident that everybody else seems to remember, but nobody will tell her what happened. They all want her to try and remember it on her own. Kind of like mystery book. It has a really big plot twist at the end. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. It did get me really back into reading. I am a sucker for plot twists. However, it really wasn't worth all the hype that TikTok put on it. A lot of people are saying that now. Recently, I've been seeing so many TikToks like bashing this book, basically being like, this is the worst book I've ever read, which I don't really think. I still think it was a good read, and I would read it again just to kind of refresh my memory. But I do think it was such a good read to start with, and it was such a good read to get back into reading. I just don't believe the TikTok hype around this book was accurate. If I were to rate it out of 5 stars, I'd give it like a 3, maybe a 3.5. It's just not everything I thought it was gonna be. The next book I'm gonna talk about wasn't extremely popular on booktok, at least not the booktok that I have seen, but it is a popular book, so I just wanted to add it in, and that is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is book 1 out of 3, and this is also the author of To All the Boys I Loved Before, if you've ever seen or read that series. I actually love that series. I'm a sucker for it. I am also a sucker for this book because it's a friends to lovers, it's like a build-up kind of relationship book that you really just want to keep reading because you want to know what happens to the couple in this book. I think it's a good book. I am sorry if you disagree. I thought it was a good book. I can't really say if it's like worth the hype because TikTok never really recommended this book to me. I just know it was super popular. I would say you should read this. I also am gonna say that this is really the only book I like out of the three. The other two books felt very fast-paced and kind of rushed. This book kind of has a slow building storyline, which I like. Oh, it just has a nice nostalgic little place in my heart. If you like any type of books like that where it's a slow burning romance and friends to lovers type of thing, I really recommend it. It's a very nostalgic book too because it kind of made me just feel like I was a teenager again, which sounds stupid, but it really did, and I loved it a lot. I also would rate it probably 3.5 stars out of 5. I know that's not a lot, but it's not the best book I've ever read, but it is a pretty good book. Back to a book that BookTok actually recommended me, which is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This book has been getting so much hate lately on TikTok. I don't really understand why. I actually really enjoyed this book and I really like this book. I loved the plot, the storyline. I feel like it's very unique for a book. In this book's society, there is a thing called deathcast, which is when you get a phone call on the day that you are supposed to die. These two boys in the book don't know each other at all. They both get the call that they're supposed to die by the end of the day. With that kind of traumatic event that's supposed to happen, they somehow meet each other along the way and they bond over, you know, the fact that they both are going to be dying in the end, and they go through kind of their day together and just realize that life is really short, basically. You should not really care what other people think. That's really what I took from the book. I know that's probably not the whole like premise of the book. It's really just like a dramatic storyline, but that's how I took the book, and it was like really eye-opening. I might sound so stupid to like professional book talkers or booktubers, but I thought it was such a good read. It's still not a very highly rated read for me. Like, I would probably rate it 3.5 to 4 stars, but I loved reading it. Read it in like a day because it was so intriguing to me, and I just wanted to know what happened by the end of the story. I wanted to see, you know, if they die or not. My heart was going for them. So I thought it was good. I truly am gonna say that I think you should read this. Don't necessarily think it's worth extreme hype that it had on TikTok. Maybe about like a half hype, if that's a thing. I really did enjoy it and I really think it's a good book. I'm not sure if it's like, again, the best book I've ever read. Also, if you read this book, there is a prequel basically coming out called The First to Die at the End, and then there's another book coming out, which I don't remember what the third one's called, but it goes with the whole series. Coming out soon. You should read this book before the prequel comes out. We're gonna talk about TikTok's most hyped author, and that is Miss Colleen Hoover. I can't even deny the hype. This is my favorite author. Colleen, if you see this, please write more books, and please send me some books. You don't have to, but if you want to, please, I am your biggest fan. This was also the first book I ever read by Colleen Hoover, and if you're going to read a Colleen Hoover book, don't read this first. It broke me. And I feel like I should have started off with something easier by her, which nothing by Colleen Hoover is an easy read. They all have some sort of that is going to mess you up. This book deals a lot with the domestic abuse, deals with abuse in general. So good. It also has a love triangle kind of situation. There are a little bit of scenes about it and situations about it. It also brought my attention. It also really opened my eyes to understanding that people in domestic abuse relationships, why they don't try to leave right away. Amazing book, worth all of the hype. Colleen, I love you, but your books kill me. 10 out of 10, you need to read it right now. Okay, I'm gonna talk about 2 more books. One is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a more recent read that I have seen a crap ton on TikTok about. It is the first book out of a series. I believe there are 3 books. I think a 4th is in the works, but don't quote me on that. This book was so good. I think the writing of this was incredible. I think the storyline was incredible. The whole plot and everything was just so really unique and intriguing to me. It deals with a senior in high school doing a senior project, and she is doing it on a murder that happened 5 years prior to when the book takes place. She is basically trying to prove the murderer innocent, and I think it's just a really interesting read. I think just the way that you never know who is going to be the suspect. Somebody starts threatening her and blackmailing her, and you literally can't tell who it is. You know, it goes back and forth between so many people and you don't have any idea, and you try and build all these clues to try and figure it out. And I literally could not figure it out until the book actually told me who it was. It's just incredible. I'm so excited to read the rest of the series, and if there's a 4th one too, I'm excited for that too, even though I haven't even read the 2nd one yet. It's just such a good book. Absolutely worth all the hype. Another 5 out of 5. I'm going to probably get through this one really fast because my camera's about to die and I need to finish this before it gets dark out. The last book I'm going to talk about is my favorite book right now, worth absolutely all the hype on TikTok, absolutely worth all of my money, absolutely worth all of my time, just everything. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book broke me, absolutely shattered my heart. This book is about Evelyn Hugo. She is the it girl within this world. She's an actress who has hired an author to write her life novel and talk about her 7 husbands that she's had through her life. Now, you think that it's gonna be kind of boring because, you know, who wants to hear about 7 husbands that somebody had? You want to. You want to hear about the 7 husbands. You want to know who they are. You want to hear about every single one of them. You will fall in love with a certain one. I'm not gonna say who, but you will know. These husbands sometimes weren't in her life for love with them. If that doesn't spoil anything, I hope. Sometimes she has to marry them so that she can have something else in her life. And that is all I can say without spoiling it because it is too good, and if I say more, I will spoil it. Incredible book. I will say it does deal a little bit with domestic abuse. Very short, you know, talk about it, but just a trigger warning for anybody who doesn't want to read something like that. Incredible book. I loved the writing of it. I loved the storyline. The chapters are during the time she was married to each husband, and just the way that I had to remind myself that Evelyn Hugo is not a real person. I wish she was. I wish I could see the movies she stars in this book. My camera died. I literally spoke it into existence because I remember saying, oh, I have to go fast because my camera's gonna die. Let's finish this really fast. I remember I was talking about this book. If there's any book you take out of this that you are going to read, it needs to be this one. It's just beautifully written. Just such an amazing book. Taylor Jenkins Reid, incredible author. I am saying this is my favorite book right now. So yes, this is my all-time favorite book. TikTok, if you are right about one thing, it was this book. And that concludes all of the books I'm going to talk about today. I know it wasn't a whole lot of books. I still am slowly trying to read, you know, TikTok recommended books. So hopefully after I read some more, I will update this video with some new ones. And we will just continue discussing if BookTok books are worth the hype. Overall, I think that they are. Some are hit or miss just on how much they deserve to be hyped up, but I honestly don't regret reading any of these books, and I don't think you should regret reading any of these books if it's within like the genres you like, you know? I know that my type of genre of books is not the same as everybody else's. I read a lot of like young adult romance. My type of genre might not be the same as yours, so we may have very different opinions on books, which is okay. These are just my opinions, you know, take them with a grain of salt. But if you happen to like the same genre as I do, I definitely recommend at least all of these books one time in your life. Definitely read some of them before others. That's all I really have to say about all the books in this video. If you want to keep up to date with the books that I am currently reading, you should definitely follow me on Instagram. I post on my story all the time, create a highlight for all of the books I read and kind of rate them on there. I also have a Goodreads, which you can follow. I will link both my Instagram and Goodreads below. Definitely like check those out if you want to see what I'm currently reading or what I want to read. And that's all I really have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any book recommendations, let me know. I'm always looking for a new good book. If you can't wait to see more, you should like and subscribe, obviously. And I will see you guys in my next video. Okay, love you, bye.
I got my head out the sunroof, I'm blasting